And this is the opposite. Yeah. Alrighty, we are live. Over there. Yeah. This one? This one? And then this one. Are we expecting anyone else?
You can show them under.
And then. I'm good. I told them when they asked me to do it, I said, do you just need it unplugged and replugged in? Because that's my ability level.
It's gonna work, right?
That's all right, right?
That's not the floor.
Started?
What?
You get started?
Yes.
Also,
If you're ready to Councillor Hickman, we're live.
Yeah, it won't be as bad as this morning, I hope.
Can you hear yourself, please? Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'll call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome Carol Bone from the CEO of the National Field. Yeah, easy. Well, that's you do all up with the, MMSB is over going. So welcome to the rounds of the Columbus Citizen Observer tonight, and maybe he'll have a listen and introduce himself, and then you guys will introduce yourself to him. Looking forward to have a chat with you later on. Adoption of the agenda. Next. Take your approval. And review of the minutes, so we all second that. Quick look, if you haven't had a chance to review the minutes. Seconded by. All in favor? Committee reports, first up tonight, we have Councillor Hickman, committee chair for finance and audit committee. You're free to take the floor, Councillor Hickman.
Okay, can you hear me now?
You're now.
Okay, this is meeting November 17th. Agenda item 4A1, Board Expenditures Report, Check Register and Payroll Summary for the month of October. We reviewed that and there were no issues or concerns. Any questions for staff? I can't see from here if anybody's raising their hand or anything, so you can do that if you would, Steve.
No questions.
Pardon me. Be it resolved that the board adopt the expenditures for the months of June and September as tabled. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? I thought you did that, Steve.
Oh, sorry, we're still here. Did you say September and October?
No, he said June.
June and September.
Oh, good. Yeah, okay.
But
So.
I made
Motion's
motions made.
Motion not correct. No, motion not correct. It's the expenditure for the month of October.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just reading what they gave me. I'm in the wrong province, obviously. So could someone correct that for me?
Resolved that the board adopt the expenditures for the month of October as table.
Okay, something happened along there. Sorry about that. That's my motion.
Moved by Councilor Hickman, second by. Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4A2, Incorporated Town Payment Activity Report dated October 8th was tabled for review. Staff noted they were very pleased with this month's report. There were no questions or concerns. And does anybody around the table have any questions for staff? All seems to be in good order. Everybody seems to be paying on time. Okay, 4A3, Q3 financials update. We had a briefing note in our package for review, and that's there for your review. Staff gave us a quick report and highlighted some key points. And members were pleased that expenditure at 61% of budget, revenue collection is at 89% of budget. And we had a discussion on the cost of fuel and of course some subsequent budget overrun this item, despite the fact we increased it by 25% for this current year. But otherwise, there was no concerns. And Craig, any other highlights?
Plus the fuel rate, we're down on salary. Position doesn't employ vehicle maintenance is higher, for most priorities on the budget. But we can say the plan will be able to make the good part start.
Okay. Holly, is there any way of turning up the speakers? So I can't really hear that well.
We'll ask people who are speaking to speak louder.
It's really not great, actually.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jamie, I can hardly hear a thing either.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, James. Didn't know you were there. Good. Yeah, it's really hard to hear you guys.
We'll try to speak louder. We're
Yeah. Need to get further from the nest. Okay. 4A4 photocopier replacement update. Briefing note there for you. Staff discussed the process for obtaining of quotes for a replacement copier and how the quotes were analyzed and evaluated. They also discussed the fact that the quotes received for the new photocopier, but the old photocopier needs replacing because needs replacing does not meet the needs. Now it is a bit complicated. So Craig or somebody would like to explain that again? It has something to do with environmental concerns too, right?
When we originally put the proposals, we received 5 quotes back, but then we became aware of the some new technology that is not fit the bill the board's strategic planning with the environment. So what we ended up having to do was go back out to the vendors and they requoted a couple of different units. There's one paper again that we recommended, but it's essentially the most environmental friendly unit that's out there. And what it is, it's a coal technology, so it doesn't use the heat. So it doesn't the photocopier itself doesn't heat on. Put the inkjet just goes around to it. And it doesn't actually uses a whole lot less power. So once we got that done, once we went out to market, we did more research and two additional quotes came in. And one was the accident was recommending, and the other one was the but the accident was obviously more expensive than the brand technology. But when they're evaluating and solving other options, it was in the technical based on the technology based on the save that one. So, if anybody's interested in further information on that, on those units, certainly come it out. The finance committee did the package with all the bids, public package. If anybody has any questions, anybody has information. I was wondering about lease versus purchase. Where lease? So it was recommended by actually the person agency plus the vendors. It's go ahead and because they just get come out.
Any other questions?
Okay. Be resolved that the Finance and Audit Committee recommends the board lease an Epson WFC 20600 and not the Binford 3000. No, not this time. With finisher option from Pinnacle Office Solutions for $314.73 per month plus HST. So moved.
It's Jamie. I I had a question, but honestly, everyone sounds
Yeah.
like the lady from the Peanuts, the Charlie Brown. I
Mhm.
apologize for not being here in person. I was not a fan of this owl system from the start, and I can tell you, I right now think it's horrible. That's honest opinion. I guess I'll vote for it, but I understand every fifth or sixth word Craig said there, so
Yep.
which is a bit frustrating because I would love to know why we're. I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but the efficiency there. I read it earlier, but I have no idea. I assume that's the question you answer, but I don't know. Maybe you can put it in the chat or something. But I can't. It's hard to understand what everyone's saying.
I'm sorry, Jamie, can you hear me better than?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, I can hear you great.
You do all the talking.
I think it has a little bit to do with location.
Yeah.
Prime spot and all that good jazz. So maybe Craig
What was your question, David?
could,
Yeah, just well, I guess firstly with if we're bound by the Public Procurement Act, can we go and not select the lowest one because of efficiency, sustainability? That was one question. And secondly, just the summary of a quick summary of why we selected the one that was slightly more, and how much more was it? Was the other question on that.
Okay, just 1 second. Craig, make your way down to the better line.
So we went with the lower ones. When we went out to bid the first time, we had our specification. Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Very loud.
So when we went out to because it falls under the certain thresholds, we didn't have to go to public tender with it. So we could do a limited call for bids. So we went down for three quotes. And it was all based on the previous Samsung that we had. The bids that we got back, there was a Konica Minolta that we actually wanted, came in the lowest price. And that would have been essentially because we didn't specify any other criteria, that would have been it. But then we found out about the environmental piece, and so what we ended up doing is going back out to the vendors, and then breaking it down to certain criteria. So it's in the brief note, it was 40, 30, 20, or 40, 30, 30. Anyway, and that's allowed under the Public Procurement Act. So we can, as long as the bidders are notified of the criteria, we don't have to go through lowest bidder, as long as they're notified. So when we went back out the second time for information about the environmental piece, they knew about how the decision was going to be made. And once you evaluate each unit to price, to performance, to different items, then the Epson came out on top slightly. The one closest was the cheaper one, which was the Konica Minolta. But the Epson, because it was so much more efficient in the long run, is going to save more money for electricity and for repair costs and downtime. So that's why we went with that one. These units, the smaller ones, are used in because there's not a whole lot of moving parts as such. They're really robust. So they don't. There's a couple in Voisey's Bay. There's a couple in some remote work sites. So it's the same model, but just a bit smaller. And the vendor and the manufacturer they promote this particular. It's the unit as being so able to fix and being so efficient with maintenance. So it decreases downtime as well, right? And that was one of the problems we had with the Samsung. Wouldn't say it was always down, but there was an issue with it a lot of the time.
Perfect.
Anything else,
Thank you.
Jamie? Oh, okay. All right. Stick around there, Craig, for the next one. All right. So I made that motion.
All those in favor?
All right.
All those in favor? Aye.
All right. Okay. 4A5 insurance policy renewals. This was an email vote to be ratified. A briefing note was included in the meeting package for a review. Staff reminded members that all insurance policies, except for directors and officers insurance, are now set to renew at the same time each year and this is reflected in the motion below. We had no questions or concern on this motion, and it should be ratified at this public meeting. So anything to add to that, Craig?
No, the documents went out, the renewal documents went out by email. So you had the listing of the equipment and had the listing of the cyber policy was there as well attached. So this went through the motion by email because we had to do it by the end of October. And so we're just ratifying it at this particular, or you're just ratifying at this particular meeting. But we thought the quotes came back as reasonable. Myself and Lana talked about it and had done a bit more research into it. And if they had come back off the wall, then we would have had to really look into moving providers. But it came back fairly. The slight increases are market increases, so we expected. And for this particular renewal, we had to, and it might be reflective of how many hoops we had to jump through in order to get this, to get the renewal. But we spent a disproportionate amount of time this year than we have in the last 3 to try to get the getting the documents on the vehicles, on the equipment, and everything else. But it came back and it wasn't that much of an increase compared to what we thought it was going to be. So we were pleased with it. And if anybody has any questions, we can I can certainly send further information out to you.
Any questions at this time, anyone?
Do we have a policy as to how often we do go for more quotes?
Generally, we use it, I believe, is about a 4-year, 5-year period. And we're approaching that now.
Okay. Okay. Be it resolved that the board accept the cyber liability policy, commercial general liability, property policy renewal quote from Wedgwood Insurance in the combined total amount of $86,001 for the period of November 1st, 2022 to October 31st, 2023. So moved.
Second by. All those in favor?
All right. Agenda item 4A6, new equipment proposal for Clarendon Transfer Station. And there's a briefing note included in your package. Staff informed the committee that the current loader being used at the Clarendon Transfer Station is too large to be used safely inside the facility. And I think some of us who were there saw that. Therefore, staff are working on a tender for an articulating loader forklift, which will better suit the needs of staff and will be safer to use. It was discussed by the committee and staff were advised to seek funding opportunities that may be available through the provincial government for equipment such as this. Any update on that, Craig? Or
So I'll
okay,
speak
sorry.
Andy.
Sure.
We have the tender just about complete, and we have reached out to Krista Canoe in the department. So we're just putting some of the final, I guess, considerations to paper to present to finance in January.
Excellent. Good to hear. Any questions, anyone? Any articulating questions? Okay. Can I move on, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 4A7, snow clearing at Access Road to Clarendon Transfer Station. And of course, this is an issue usually only in the winter. Department of Transportation and Infrastructure clears the road, but stops some distance from the end of the road where the transfer station gates are located. The portion that they do not clear is now cleared by our staff. Staff have reached out several times to request Transportation and Infrastructure change route and clear the road to our gates. However, we continue to have frustration and await a response. Any update on that, Chris?
Unfortunately, the update is that I continue to wait. I have requests in for snow clearing at this facility. That would still mean that we cleared a considerable portion, but the portion that we're asking the Transportation and Works to complete is shared not only by a regional facility, but also by a Rogers communication tower. And we're currently clearing that as well. So I haven't heard back from them. I'm also waiting back for communication regarding cover your load. Not posters, roadside advertisements to be near our waste recovery facilities. And right now they're in the process of considering our request and the requirement of such. I believe the those.
Yeah, so we continue to wait on those two issues. Any
Yes,
questions,
sir.
anyone? Okay,
We do that. We do now like that. Water renewal.
Well, it should be transportation. We don't have road so far to stop. We're running inside road and then road. We close the road. I don't know, maybe you want to be 300 feet down the road.
It's about 500 feet where there's a established turnaround, like you said, they're right now backing into a driveway where they could go to an established turnaround.
all right, thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you, I appreciate the. Next up, we have the strategy and policy committee, Councilor Tilly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We focus on here.
Not really. Sorry.
Yeah, it's really not good.
Do you want me? The mic will reach to you actually, Gerard, if you'd like, if you would prefer.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Mic is-
Good evening, everyone. Following our committee notes from our meeting number 79 on November 15th, 2022. Agenda item 4B1, Fire and Emergency Services, discussion to rescind motion number 2021-006. Section 19 of the Regional Service Boards Act 2012 provides the Regional Service Board powers regarding the provision of regional fire protection services. At our Strategy and Policy Committee meeting of Tuesday, January 12th, 2021, discussion began on developing a process to address requests from communities to collect fire and emergency service fees on their behalf. Following an analysis of recent requests from several towns to collect fire and emergency service fees from neighboring communities and areas, an update to the board's policy regarding entering agreements with only those who are in receipt of waste services will be required. The committee agreed that any agreement will be identified properties only, and the information must be provided by communities who wish to enter into said agreement. So the motion is, be it so resolved that the board rescind motion 2021-006, that the board will only enter into agreements to collect fire and emergency service fees for those communities in receipt of regional waste services and from those communities in receipt of regional, I think this is twice, service agreements for the collection of fire and emergency service fees will include fees, collection, and remittance from identified properties only. And further, that the board enter into agreements to collect fire and emergency service fees for communities in the Eastern region. Those communities wishing to enter into an agreement must provide a list of identified property owners and contact information as service agreements for the collection of fire and emergency service fees, which will include fees, collection, and remittance from identified properties only. So moved.
Moved by Councilor Tilly, second by Councilor Over. Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried.
Next agenda item 4B2, the 2023-27 strategic plan development update. The strategic plan development is ongoing. Staff reported on that there has been still no concrete direction from the provincial government on regionalization or the possible addition of the Discovery region to Eastern Region Service Board. Staff will continue to work on a rough draft, but hope to receive some direction to complete the final product. Any questions for staff?
Councilor Beck, under number one, the second one is.
Okay, I thought it was done.
One is to rescind and the other one is to allow.
Okay, that's one I didn't do.
So it enters, so you did this one, but didn't do that one.
Okay,
We rescind the first one, we'll move the second one.
Okay, my apologies. I thought it was the second one on my speaking notes. So will I go ahead and okay. To be so resolved that the board enter into agreements to collect fire and emergency service fees for communities in the eastern region. Those communities wishing to enter into an agreement must provide a list of identified property owners and contact information. The service agreements for the collection of fire and emergency service fees will include fees collection and remittance from identified properties only. So moved.
Moved by Councilor Billy, second by. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor? Contrary? Carried. Thank you.
Were there any questions on the strategic plan update for staff?
Hearing none.
Next item is the agenda 4B3, product care recycling update. Staff informed the committee that discussions are ongoing with product care recycling and that they are willing to provide the necessary infrastructure at our Clarendon transfer station for collection of used paints, etc. The board would need to provide a forklift to load their trucks when collecting materials. At this time, the board does not have a forklift at the Clarendon transfer station site. However, a tender has been issued for an articulating backhoe that is necessary for the transfer station. A set of forks has been added to the tender so that the board can load the materials collected through this program. Information will be provided to the committee on the outcome of the tender and the implementation of this program. Any questions for staff? Agenda item 4B4, Q3 waste operations report. Briefing note has been attached in our meeting package. Staff provided a brief overview of the Q3 waste operations report and noted that they were pleased with this quarter. Several key points were highlighted. Discussion focused on the low usage and continued vandalism at the Bell Island Waste Recovery Facility. A full review, including a cost analysis, will be completed and brought back to the committee for permanent closure of this facility. Any questions for staff? Agenda item 4B5, the Regional Water Wastewater Program Report. Staff informed members that the board's regional water wastewater technicians continue to work with 19 communities in the eastern region and are pleased to report that 2 communities have come off boil water advisories in 2022. This program continues to be a positive asset to the board's complement of services, and staff hopes to see the province continue funding the program as it has proven to be quite beneficial to communities. Any questions? And the final agenda item 4B6, implementing a clear garbage bag policy. Staff began discussions on the possibility of implementing a clear garbage bag policy in future tenders. It was noted that the City of St. John's has implemented this policy and other regional service boards have mandated the use of clear garbage bags. The City of St. John's has been seen a significant increase in recycling participation because of the implementation. Discussion ensured regarding how and when to implement this policy. It was suggested that the board could implement this policy soon, but would provide a transition period and soft approach while ensuring that the benefits of using clear garbage bags are being communicated. It was also agreed that it would take the contractors and their collection crews time and that they would have to be part of the enforcement. The committee agreed that an informative message and request for support should be passed along to the provincial government as well as joint councils as these discussions continue over the next few months. Any questions?
Hearing none, but I would, someone from
Well, Casper Hickman is our lead for public works, will probably speak better to that now, we'll provide a comment afterwards, so that if you so, fine.
What am I supposed to comment on?
Clear bag policy, the City of St. John's.
Oh.
How's it working?
It is working fabulous. There's no question. Hand in hand with that, of course, is mandatory recycling. That's what this means. So very important that we ensure that that goes as part of our process as well for the board. So it will take a bit of time and a lot of education, both of residents and the handlers and the collectors. So, but it's something that we must move towards, and we must encourage the government. All those other towns and communities that are just doing green bag, this has got to change. This is a really bad situation in some communities around this province. Not our clients, but others that are not our clients. And we have to set the example as a board. So fully support going ahead with it. It's been very successful for the city. No question. Thanks.
Yes, so I just concur with Councillor Hickman in his sentence there about how the success of the program. Education is key. I don't think this is something you can go into and slam dunk and just like kind of enforce immediately. There is a whole lead in that needs to happen as we understood over a period of time. But the stage has been set, certainly. So I agree. I'm fully supportive. I think it's the way to go. Mandatory recycling is it's going to be a month, but understanding that there is a time frame where a transition period that will be necessary, and education, number one.
Yeah, we're in the city of Mount Pro, we're in the church garbage bags also, we've been about 5 or 6 years, I guess. And I know in the city now, it's a job to find dark garbage bags. And we just came off a labor strike. And one of the biggest issues we have is recycling. And people are going to, we had no way to do that. Well, as you know, as you keep on saying, education is key. Once people get used to recycling and clear garbage bags, it goes much easier. I think it's like Sandy said, it should be mandatory and we should move forward.
Just one thing to add to the education and leading part, I think just giving businesses time to adapt, because I know that was a big part of what when we rolled it out, just being able to find and source and get it right away. So yeah, leading time and education and patience and yeah, definitely need to do it.
Well, I think the health and citizen challenge, the city of Mount Pro, and the ERSB is not clear enough in the health and education program. When we move forward, we keep moving in place. Well, the program is easy for everybody to follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, that's my report.
Sure. Next we have the government report. Donald.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The meeting 81 was held on November 22nd, 2022. Agenda item 4C1, draft communications plan. A brief note and draft communications plan are included in tonight's meeting package. Staff provided an overview to the committee and expressed the importance of good marketing, presence of social media platforms, transparency, and providing accurate and current information to all clients. A question and answer period took place with members providing suggestions for the plan. Board members are asked to review the draft plan and send along any suggestions or comments to the CAO. Are there any questions or concerns? Okay, agenda item 4C2, joint council reports. A brief notice included in tonight's meeting package. Staff noted that the Joint Council of Conception Bay North has postponed their meeting and election to January of the new year. And the Northeast Avalon Joint Council looks forward to a presentation from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans this week at the regular monthly meeting. Are there any questions or concerns? Good, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kevin. Good time. Number 5, correspondence. We did a letter from town of Arrow requesting additional bulk collection. We did go out and do some contact and this is going to be questions on that. There we go. New business. All the people who've been in politics way too long. 12 years. Yeah, 12 years. There.
Steve, any chance you can move over to the other microphone?
Yep.
Cannot hear you at all. Sorry.
It seems like 30 years.
We were. I was congratulating Mayor bringing us 12 years. There's another fella here, Sandy, got 20 years under his belt.
Oh, so yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, he wanted me to move over so I could hear his voice. Hear his name. Yeah.
I didn't. Sorry, I had no idea. Carry on.
Yeah. So congratulations to you both. It's a lifetime in municipal politics. So it's good to see that you guys keep on giving back to your communities. Well done.
Mr. Chair, Sandy is usually pretty quick to correct you that it's 21 years, not 20.
Well.
Oh God, gosh, Jamie. Golly.
I gotta go to my speaker, no, hang on.
Yeah, where's that mic?
I was gonna be right here.
Do you want me
I guess.
to call that down there?
I'm here now. There we go, just some technical updates.
That's my problem. It's a little one. Yeah, wait. Yeah.
Ryan, you can sing a song if you like while we're waiting.
Moving on the way you want.
Good. Can you hear us better now? Yes, thumbs up from 20-year-old. I mean, 20-year-old has been in council for 20 years. Next, report on M&L conference and the trade show, it happened November 3rd to the 5th. I know there was a number of us around the table that were out at the conference. It was well attended conference. I think it's probably one of the bigger ones I've seen. I don't know if it's because the outgoing CAO, Mr. Craig Hollow, was on the way out. And everybody was anxious to see what was happening, or it was just that everybody was anxious after 2 years of being locked down in COVID. They wanted to get out and see some familiar faces. But other way, it was a great conference and it was well attended. I don't know if anybody has any comments on it. No, okay, it was good. And I know that M&L has an incoming new CEO,
Robert Nolan.
Robert Nolan. And under the Sheila and I were talking earlier, and she recommended we write him a letter and ask for a meeting at ASAP as soon as he starts. I think he's probably starting next week or so. So I would like to see him early in the new year, and maybe a couple of us from the board can attend the meeting and just let him know our position on things and get a relationship started right away. So if we could get a letter to him sooner than later, and the first meeting. Thank you for that.
Mr. Chair, just on
Yes,
that,
yep.
just heads up, of course, that the next M&L conference will be in St. John's.
Okay, good.
So we're looking forward to being the host city for that event.
Always a good time in St. John's.
Yeah.
Everybody loves going to a conference in St. John's. That's good to know. Okay, thanks for that. Update the CAO and the CFO, and I met with Minister John Hogan, the Department of Justice and Public Safety, on Monday of this week, and we had several asks to him. Just some change in legislation as to how it's written, and some of the giving us a little bit more clarity on how we operate, and a couple of asks that we had regarding collection of data at the gates of the waste recovery facilities, and how we go about doing that, storing that information, as well as some cameras, how we can set up some cameras on site to record I guess things that happen on the sites that we'd like to have recorded, so that we, for protection of our staff and the protection of our facilities, because we have had some vandalism over the last couple of years. That's certainly takes its toll on the pocketbook after a while, we're just replacing fences and other equipment. So yeah, so we had a good meeting with Mr. Hogan. He's very open to hearing what we have to say, and look forward to a follow-up conversation with him in response to our asks. What else do we have going on here? CEO and the CFO and I met with the Central and Western Service Board on Monday afternoon for the full day on Monday. And again, we discussed a lot of common concerns that we all share, and some different tactics that we want to use going forward to line up what we do and how we operate. So it was some good conversation. We all agreed that we will, on a go-forward basis, meet on a much more regular basis, because I think it's the first time Craig we met in 2 or 3 years now. So it was good. Everybody's excited and interested in what we all had to offer. So that was some good meetings. And we'll go to a round table. Before I start that, I will welcome Charles again. And we were down to your place on yesterday, Tuesday. So we had a great presentation from the MMSB on maybe I'll introduce yourself, and you can introduce yourself to us, and we can give us a little sort of overview of us. MMSB, for that 2 years.
Sure, thanks. Good evening, pleasure to be here. Charles Bound, the CEO at MMSB. So MMSB is Crown Corporation, and we're a stakeholder in waste management in the province. I think you probably see us mostly through our Green Depot network and our beverage program, but we're also responsible for used tires in the province.
And we also run 3 extended producer responsibility programs, electronics, paint, and used oil and glycol. So we're also involved though in public education, as you had noted earlier. But we're also heavily involved in research, and we've done a number of waste audits for the city of St. John's. We recently did one, I think, a year and a half ago for Eastern. We've done quite a number of waste audits for Central and Western as well. And really, if you haven't seen them, they're posted, they're on our website, but they're really a good assessment, understanding of what's really in your black bags, what's in your blue bags. And we've established a set of metrics that you can track over time to see if you're doing any better, if you're doing worse with your waste management policies and programs. And yes, I would know from Councillor Hickman that we're looking forward to the results of our most recent update for the city of St. John's to see how the clear bag program is working. That way you will have absolute quantitative data to be able to assess the success of the program, but we're already seeing that anyway. We're also involved heavily with the regional service boards. Like we hold a regular consultation with all of the boards and city of St. John's each year. We bring together the groups to share with them the most recent data that we're seeing, talk about some of the research, talk about bringing some speakers to help all the groups do a little bit better with the waste management practices. We're also always there to answer questions for anybody who has any questions as well. We're currently engaged in consultations. I'll back up. The Minister of Environment has asked us to undertake a consultation process for a new extended producer responsibility program called packaging printed paper. And really, this is where the industry, like they're responsible for taking care of our electronic waste, would actually become responsible for looking after all the materials that are in the blue bag program. And not only the materials that are in there, but more likely, as we see in other jurisdictions, there will be a significant amount of more materials that will be added to the blue bag program as well. So we've done consultations with yesterday with the regional service boards. We've met with industry, and we have additional consultations to go with municipalities and indigenous groups. And we've also held a forum earlier this year just for as many of the stakeholders as possible, just to give them basic education. But I think that's the most important element of what we're trying to get across, is an understanding of actually what PPP really is, what the options are available, and what the impacts of that would mean for municipalities, but also for regional service boards as well. All right, that's a mouthful.
Oh, that's good.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I can answer any questions that anybody would have.
I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments or. Well, I've asked Charles to join us and at any opportunity he has in our regular monthly meetings. Only because I feel that we're a hand-in-hand kind of organizations as we move forward in the whole, waste management. So, we need to have a relationship with the MMSBs and all the regional service boards. So as we grow and move, things shift. I think it's important that we all sit at the same table at some point in time. So, we'll ask him whenever he's free, and he has an open invitation. So, thank you very much for that update. Sandy, do you have anything on the round table?
Nope, all good, thanks.
Gaming? All good, thumbs up, Jill, Ron, Carol, thumbs up.
I'll say something.
All right, I knew you would.
No, I just want to give everyone an update where I guess CBS, just like every other municipality, is in the full swing of budget time, and of course we'll be bringing down our budget to CBS in the next couple of weeks. And so I think in my 13, this is my 13th budget, and probably one of the most discussed and difficult ones I think that we've ever done. So of course everyone's feeling the pinch. So I guess we'll find a couple of shots going on here. Town CBS, we're very proud that we're going to be opening up our new state-of-the-art library in the next couple of weeks. And as well, we just finished commissioning the ice surface of our new community park. So first was kind in the province, we had a combination splash pad / skating rink. And we're hoping to have the skating rink up and running in the very, very near future. So let's hope for a bit of cold weather.
So is that an open invitation to the board to come and visit?
You can come up first day if you want. It's gonna be another few weeks yet, so.
Okay.
And I think that I've put our council notes as well, that the declared garbage bag issue is that something on, as chair of public works for town CBS, so I certainly will be pushing that in the new year.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Kevin?
Okay, we're heading down to San Diego. It's coming next week. There's 5 that's going down. Looking really forward to this one. I haven't been to one before, but 4 is going down. 4 is going. Anyway, we're looking forward to it. It'll be a good learning experience.
It will be. Greg?
Just say we've had some good shares, we had some really good conversations the last couple of days, thank you for taking the time, and look forward to seeing you on person.
Cool. Holly?
I had an interesting phone call today from Ron Johnson, the VP with the Health. And and we're going to be working over the next 2 weeks with M&L and joint councils to try to reach out and get everyone a part of the engagement piece around the regional health authorities. So that's something new and exciting that's going to be coming up, and it's going to be on the table, I guess, with joint councils over the next couple of months, are guaranteed in the new year. But I'll include everybody on the email invite. It'll be a virtual meeting. So for anyone who
Excuse me, I'm employed user now, I'm not director now. No, okay, sorry.
That's
There's no revenue change hands.
No, it's just, we're just gonna have the meeting set up over the next 2 weeks, so just a heads up, you might see that email. I'm thinking the virtual invite is probably gonna come from Brad. He, at M&L, of course, he is the Zoom master, so we'll leave that up to him, but if you get anything from that, you can reach out if you have any questions.
Good enough, thank you. Mayor? Green?
We just unveiled our first 6 over, I think it's 18, electric vehicle car chargers, yesterday, so it's a big move forward, on that front. So right now, we're 3 installed at the, community market at Paul Reynolds Center, and one other location that escapes me at the moment. But we'll be rolling out over center. Correct?
New center?
New center's the next one. Then the new center, Southlands Community Center. So that that's our first round is 18. So, and then we'll continue on to find more partnerships that we agree to expand as the need be. And the other thing is you can have a look at our website, see your recent citizens resident satisfaction survey or that thereof, and it's really interesting. If you look at it, I think you probably find that the things that you would see in our resident satisfaction survey probably hold true for your own communities. Because I think it really, although it looks at city services and things that the city does, really captures the feeling of the population at this time on a very macro level. I think you can see that, you can see the concern with inflation and the other health issues that people are finding, health service delivery issues that we all find. But it's good information. It's our 3rd one that we've done, and it's interesting to have a look and see how you think that might help your own community.
Oh, thank you. Glenn?
No, nothing tonight, Chair. Thank you. Not much new on my end either. I'm just happy to share after last month when I discussed about the cleanups in our community. I did receive some information from the board regarding that, so I'm happy to share that, and we're looking forward to having it in the new year when the weather gets nice.
Perfect.
Aside from all of the holiday cheer coming up, and asking people to, certainly be cognizant of waste. One of the questions that I have in my mind right now is where the federal government is with its commitment to reduce plastic waste. There was a commitment some time ago, and I just think it's something that's pertinent, certainly for this board to be cognizant of. I'm not sure if that's information that you may be more aware of, certainly with MMSB, but I know that the commitment was forthcoming to reduce a number. We want to reduce it at the start. We want to stop plastic production as best as possible right at the beginning, and that'll help us save all the money and the resource from trying to recycle and continue to mitigate it. So I think it's worth our while to investigate a little bit further about where that commitment is in the scheme of things, because it will be an asset
to all of us.
For sure.
Thank you.
For sure, working hand in glove with the industry, we'll figure that out pretty quick.
Okay.
Thank you. Wesley.
Yeah, it's not related to this board particularly, but I just heard Jerry's talking about the new library, their new library. And I've just finished a 3-year term on the provincial library board. I've been briefed on the new library. It's fabulous. So really proud. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
I just wanna, I guess, further what Councillor Tilly mentioned about budgets. I attended Northeast Avalon Joint Council meeting, and it seems like every town very busy with their budgets. Tough year, so you're not the only ones. Another thing that came up in our meeting was about asset management, and I just let everybody know at that board that or that council that I've recently completed a professional certificate in asset management. I shared the link with Ms. Power. So it's very worthwhile for us to do, very eye-opening. So, and it was partially funded through, or mostly funded through FCN. So if anybody's interested in the link, whatever, it can be shared by Ms. Power, and even for the staff, I think it'd be a good thing that you guys could even think about doing. You know, just get some extra learning.
Yes,
So it was
absolutely.
a very worthwhile course. And I guess just shameless plug for Food Cove, we have we just released a 4-page event for Christmas. Small town, but we have a lot going on, like I'm sure all you do, so just an open invite. On Food Cove Town Facebook page, you should check out what's on the go and pop down for whatever you can if you want. That's it for me.
All right, thanks for the invitation. Last, Bill, a couple more here for you. Just a couple things for us, we got one meeting, one public meeting left, December 13th, and as Gerard and Mark just said, that we're bringing down our budget, and it's gonna be quite difficult. You know, I think as most people would say, if you're gonna do it, you do it in year 2. So it's gonna be a rough project for us, and I'm sure everybody else. And we'll see y'all in the New Year, or Christmas party. Hope you bring it down here first. Sure.
So I just wanted to let the board know that staff have heard the clear bag interest, and so this month 2 tenders have already been issued, and in December 2 more will be issued, and any impediment to or reference to color of bag of waste other than blue has been removed in order to start opening and removing any contractual impediment. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
All good? Okay. All right, well, our next upcoming meetings are after Christmas, so in January. I will give I guess a heads up that I'm going to change up the committees for the new year. So if you're interested in sitting on a particular committee, pop me an email or pop it in an email or someone, and just give a preferences to sort of 1, 2, 3, whatever committee you'd like to sit on. Only because I want to sort of give everybody an opportunity to sort of switch it up a little bit and do different committees. Obviously, it's a very learning experience. You get to experience the whole Eastern Region Service. So that's it for me tonight. So that's the motion to adjourn. I will. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all at the Christmas party. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
In Southlands Community Center. Permits that council, which
I found it, I didn't mind.
I was away.
See you later, Sandy. See you later.
All right.
Everybody.
Woo-hoo. Bye.
The only thing I found is here.
The library. Right, that was something.